Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube, you know me as Epic Fantasy. That's right. You know it already. You probably know that already. And here's my latest tutorial. It's a quirky, weird, fun, unusual, different little project. It is how to make a sword or a dagger out of ice. Like real ice. You know, frozen ice. I'm having some fun here. So that is real ice that I froze in the freezer. It's kind of like a cool pop, but it's not cherry. That's blood. That's not cherry, that's blood. And look, I broke it. Damn! They're delicate. This one is, I knew that one was going to break. This one's sturdier. It's thicker. It's thicker. That's more of a better of a thing. So they can't be delicate, but it is a fun little project. I show you a bunch of different ways to do it. I tried a bunch of different ways. You make a mold, you pour the water in, you use distilled water, and you need Vaseline to put in the mold so it releases. You put Vaseline in there so you can get the sword out. That's it. Let me show you a couple more here if I can find them. There's a sword that I tried to make, but it broke because it's too long. So if you're going to make a sword, it's got to be really thick, like 1.5 inches thick. These have been out of the freezer too long. Here's another one. And here's one more. Here, let me show you here real quick. I've been setting this camera up, right? So you put it in the mold, and depending on the shape and size of it, you take it out of the mold because the Vaseline releases it. And there we go. Ice dagger. Ice dagger. Very, very good if you're fighting in the Arctic. Not so good if you're fighting in the Sahara Desert. So, let's launch into the, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always got crazy stuff, or creative stuff, all kinds of things. I got a bunch of things coming up. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, leave a comment, leave a project idea. Enjoy the ice making. I got this idea when I was making the actual ice sword from Game of Thrones. It's called ice, it's not made out of ice. And I said, I wonder if I could make one out of ice. And that's kind of what I went with this. So I got more Game of Thrones stuff coming, blah, blah, blah. You heard it all before. Let's launch into the intro and then do the tutorial on how to make an ice dagger or an ice sword. Yeah! Thank you. Dioramas, origami, catapults, and treasure shades, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. All right, there's a whole lot of different ways you can make this, but cut out 2 pieces of foam, like that. Makes a little sandwich. And then cut out just the blade section of your knife, dagger, or sword. You can do this with a 1 piece of foam, but it's easy to come out when it's frozen. It's easy to get it out if you do this 2-piece method. There you go. Just cut out the blade section. It's going to go like that. And you'll see why in a second, because we need to protect the handle from filling up with water. So sand down that inner edge so it's the same thing, so the ice will come out. And then make yourself up a little blade section, a handle section. Depends on how thick your sword is, or your dagger. Mine is 3. And then assemble those pieces together to make a nice little handle. And once you finish this, you could go ahead and paint it if you wanted before you put it in the mold and put water in there. But that stick is important because it goes into the blade and holds the ice on to the handle. You want that. So, hot glue it in nice or glue it in nice. Put the top piece on to hide it, and that's that. That's the handle piece. And you can experiment with handle shapes and handle sizes. I did a whole bunch of experimenting. Now you cut away about half of that section where the handle goes, halfway deep, or a little bit more, and I'll show you why. What you eventually want to end up with is the dowel sticking about through the center line of the blade. It's about halfway down. The dowel's about halfway down, so it's in the center and it's covered by ice. Just like this. It's going to go like that. See how that dowel will be totally covered with ice, bottom and top. It's in the middle. So judge the depth that you cut it to, and then tape it together real tight all the way around the edges. You want it tight so the water doesn't leak out, but we're going to use Vaseline, and that helps a lot. Seals it all. So go ahead and put some Vaseline on the whole thing, on the whole inside, including that little section of handle on the left there. We don't want water soaking your foam board or your whatever your handle is made out of. I even made a couple of wooden ones. Put a lot of Vaseline everywhere. We don't want it to leak through the cracks. Or we want it to separate easy from the foam. It's a little mold release is what it is. Put it in the freezer. ask permission. If you're just a kid, do not just go throwing all this crazy stuff in the freezer. Mom's going to get mad if you're moving all the food around. And then pour distilled water in there. If you do not have distilled water, I'll show you in a second a little tip. You can use regular water, but distilled water, what that does is it makes it clearer. You know how you make an ice cube and the ice cube is all white inside, it's all fuzzy and white? That's impurities and whatnot in the water. Distilled water will avoid a lot of that. But hey, go ahead and use regular water. Then once it's frozen, take apart that mold and then take the piece out. And that's the beauty of this two-part mold like this. You know, it makes it easy to come apart. Yay, looks good. I like it. This is actually I don't know how many I made of these. I was going crazy making these things, just trying different things. I started out with an idea and I was like, you know. So there you go. If you don't have distilled water and you want clean water, boil water, let it cool to room temperature, then boil it again. It gets the impurities out and it'll be clearer ice. Another thing you can do is add food coloring to your ice. I made red, I made blue. I think I showed you a little bit of a blue sword there in the beginning. That's kind of interesting, but it could be darker. Now, so just a little bit about experimenting in different shapes. That's it. That's the whole thing. You know, this one's really wonderful, although it's too thin and very fragile. You saw me break it. But that's kind of a cool looking ice knife. I like it. And you see how I had to pull that one straight out of the mold? It was a little bit tricky. That's why I switched to the two-part mold. You know what I mean? You can just dig a hole in this foam and then pour the water in it, but it's difficult to get the sword out. I might do more swords. If you do a sword, be careful. Make it nice and thick. Use the two-part mold, because this is what happens if you don't. It's difficult to do when it cracks. Watch. That sword is actually longer, but trying to get it out, it cracked. Oh well, that's all right. Lots more stuff on my website at stonethecastle.com. Let me know what you think about this project. It's kind of kooky, but I like it. If you're going to do LARPing in wintertime, here's more projects. Spider-Man, rubber band gun, ballistic knife, and bala song knife, or butterfly knife. Thanks for watching. Lots more stuff coming.